The night was thick with silence, the kind of silence that presses against the skin and makes every small sound echo louder than it should. On a stretch of highway outside Montgomery, Alabama, a weary man pulled into a rest stop. He had been driving for hours, returning from a conference where he had spoken about justice, equity, and the unfinished work of civil rights. His name was David Roberts. To most, he was simply a traveler in a suit, stopping for a few minutes to stretch his legs. To the world, though not yet to the men who were about to approach him, he was something much greater. A respected judge, one of the youngest ever appointed to his state's superior court. But on that night, to two white police officers pulling into the same rest stop, he was simply a black man in a car. The red and blue lights flashed behind him, breaking the stillness of the night. He hadn't been speeding, hadn't broken a law, hadn't even moved from the parking space where he'd pulled in. Still, the officers approached with a practiced suspicion, hands hovering just above their belts. "Step out of the vehicle," one of them ordered. David glanced at them, calm but weary. "Is there a reason, officer?" "Don't ask questions. Step out of the vehicle. Now." It was the familiar script, the tone sharpened by centuries of suspicion and prejudice. David knew it by heart, though he never grew used to it. He complied, moving slowly, deliberate in every gesture, because he had given lectures on the fragility of a black man's life in the presence of police. He knew how quickly the story could be rewritten into tragedy. The officers circled him, throwing questions designed not to gather truth but to assert dominance. "Where are you coming from? Where you headed? Is your car?" David answered calmly, but the answers did not matter. To them, he was guilty of existing in the wrong skin at the wrong hour. Without warning, one officer shoved him against the hood of his car, his face pressed aga. The officers stood before him, their uniforms still crisp but their confidence shattered. For the first time, they felt what it meant to be powerless in a system they once believed worked only for them. David studied their faces. He saw the arrogance drained into nervousness, the swagger replaced by fear. Yet he did not rejoice in their discomfort. His role, his very calling, was higher than that. Justice demanded balance, not vengeance. "Officer Daniels." "Officer Moore," David said, his voice deep and deliberate, resonating through the chamber. "You are charged with misconduct, abuse of authority, and a violation of constitutional rights. This court will not take these matters lightly." The room was silent, save for the faint scratching of pens as journalists recorded every word. The story had spread beyond Montgomery. It had become a symbol, a case larger than the individual's standing trial. People outside the courthouse carried signs that read, "Justice has a name," and "Dignity on trial." Families who had lived through generations of discrimination saw in this hearing a reflection of their own struggles. The officer's attorney rose, his tone defensive, his words sharp with denial. "Your Honor, these men were acting in good faith. They followed procedure. The individual in question failed to comply with lawful orders. Their actions were justified under the circumstances." The gallery murmured, a low rumble of disbelief. David raised his hand. "Order." He leaned forward slightly, his expression measured. "Counselor, the individual in question is this court. Let's not distort the facts. The evidence will speak for itself." The irony hung heavy in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. The officers had treated him as nothing, and now he was everything they feared, a man with the power to judge them fairly, something they had not afforded him. The prosecution called witnesses. A rest stop employee testified she had seen the incident. Her voice trembled as she recalled.